Thousands of children and families in Marion County struggle with issues like poverty, substance abuse, or mental and emotional illness. Many local services exist to help families in crisis, but families often don't know about these services or can't get to them. Unmet needs can result in child abuse, neglect, or juvenile delinquency. The Early Intervention Planning Council, through the Marion County Commission on Youth's Early Intervention and Prevention Initiative, has created a plan to give families earlier access to services in the hopes of reducing the number of children who get abused or neglected or turn to delinquent acts. We hope you enjoy our monthly program, Our Kids, Our Families, Our Communities, and learn more about the local services here to help you.
Hello, my name is Shana Martin. I'm the director of the EIP initiative for McCoy. Welcome to Our Kids, Our Families, Our Communities, a show focused on preventing child abuse and neglect in our community. In today's show, we're going to focus on April, which is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we have guests from several local organizations. Peggy Serby, representing the Department of Child Services, Sandy Runkle DeLorme from Prevent Child Abuse Indiana, and Brian Carter from Dads Inc., a program of the Villages. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thank you.
If you just want to tell us a little bit about your organization and what you do there at your organization, we'll just start with that. Brian?
Brian Carter. I'm the director of Dads Incorporated. We're under the Villages umbrella, and we're about positive relationships between dads and children, really promoting just good fatherhood and really just making sure that there's a great communication between dads and their children.
Okay. Thank you. And how do dads get involved in your program?
We have several activities just throughout the year that we invite the public to get involved in. It could be anything from a dad's night out at Golden Gloves Boxing or a picnic that's concentrated on dads and different events like it's called the Indiana Dads Expo. We're co-partnering with other dad organizations and really educating dads on just being better dads.
Okay. So this is a volunteer program,
Absolutely.
So fathers in the community that just want to spend some time with their kiddos and other
Yes.
dads can give you a call and find out how they can get involved.
Absolutely, on our website or Facebook.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Sandy?
I'm Sandy Runkle DeLorme with Prevent Child Abuse Indiana. We're also a division of the Villages, and we also work very closely with Dads Inc. Brian does a lot of presentations and trainings for us in Central Indiana. We're very grateful for that. He was being modest earlier. He does a lot of that too. We are a primary prevention entity in that we're about public awareness and education, advocacy, training, and we go around the state educating youth and professionals, parents, community members about how to prevent child maltreatment. So that's our primary mission and sort of the ways in which we do that. We also have several councils around the state. So we have approximately 40 councils representing 42 counties, and they do prevention efforts on a local level.
Okay.
Because, we're statewide, but we're sitting here in Indianapolis, so we can't possibly know what the needs of, Scott County are, Lake County. So they do a wonderful job in terms of primary prevention efforts in their own community. So we also have, again, 40 of those representing the 42 counties, and of course we're always hoping for, fulfilling all 92 counties. We'd like to have 92 counties have a council. And again, we do lots of training. That's where Brian has been so helpful, and we do regional workshops and conferences, and we have a statewide conference actually that's coming up. We distribute about 250,000 material around the state every year, so we're really about mass education about the topic of child maltreatment prevention.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
And we'll get some more information about some of the good things you guys have to offer. Peggy?
I'm Peggy Serby. I'm the Deputy Director at the Marion County Department of Child Services. Oftentimes we think of our office just investigating abuse and neglect and our involvement in cases. However, we have a rather large component of what we do, and we have funding allocations to prevent, to support our partners in the community for prevention of child abuse. For example, funding towards McCoy for your initiatives. We also fund the Neighborhood Alliance for Child Safety through Children's Bureau, which are community agencies that anyone can access to get support and references to resources. We have several other partners that we work with. This last year we had contracts with about 30 partners within the community to provide resources and support to families and children.
Okay, well, great. And it's good to know that there are lots of prevention providers and lots of work being done around prevention, but particularly to know and to raise awareness about all the work that DCS does, Department of Child Services, around prevention and supporting the organizations that are seated at this table, as well as McCoy. And we are the youth serving intermediary organization for Marion County, so we don't provide direct services, but what we do is focus on how do we make our community better for kids and families, generally speaking. And we typically do that by playing 4 roles. We're an advocate, so we have a director of advocacy and public policy. She spends a lot of time just really working with legislators to help them be aware of the importance of prevention, not just looking at things kind of after the fact or after things happen, but really how do we get funding sources, how do we get laws and policies that are really focused on prevention. We're a resource, so we put out 2 resource guides on an annual basis. The Youth Activity Directory, which will be coming out soon to really help families get prepared for summer camp, but it also has mentoring activities, after school activities and such. And then our Easy Book, which is Essential Aid and Services for You, which is really focused on basic need services, mental health services, addiction services, food pantries, that kind of stuff that a parent can access if they just need some assistance to help them. We are also a capacity builder, so we do a lot of training around various topics, primarily to help youth service professionals to be able to provide better quality programming to the young people, because we want to make sure that kids that are in programs are really getting a quality experience and that they're in a safe, healthy environment. I facilitate our Stewards of Children program, which is a sexual abuse prevention, really focused on raising awareness, helping folks to understand the statistics, and it is funded by Department of Child Services, so we're able to offer that training for free, so that's really wonderful. And so far, since 2010, we have trained 1,000 adults, so we're really excited about that and excited about the opportunities that keep coming. And the last role we play is that of convener, so just bringing folks together around the table, around particular topics, and one of those happens to be early intervention and prevention, which is focused all on how do we kind of build a better community, bring resources together, create a better infrastructure so service providers are working together around preventing child abuse and neglect and juvenile delinquency. So that's just a little bit about McCoy, and you guys are all familiar, and we all work together very well to kind of fill in the gaps and lean on each other for expertise. So why don't we talk a little bit about kind of what child abuse and neglect looks like in our community from you guys' perspective. What do you see happening? What are some good things that are going on, and how are we all kind of working to combat it? Thoughts?
Well, in terms of the first part of your question about, what does it look like, and maybe this is because we come from a primary prevention sort of perspective, it can look like anything. This crosses all boundaries in terms of, socioeconomic and ethnic, so it can look like anything, anyone. And, that's the importance of the prevention piece, so that you're targeting everyone, so that everyone is aware of, looking out for their next door neighbor's child, or, the teacher looking out for his or her students, because it just can occur everywhere. So, because of that, the importance of the education piece, and for us, it's not just looking for signs of child maltreatment, although it's very important. Very often there aren't any. Yeah. So it's important to be educated about the signs, behavioral and physical. But more importantly, at least we feel, is to prevent it in the first place, because if you're already having to look for signs, that means something's already occurred. Yeah. in some instances, in terms of signs anyway, neglect, for instance, is the most substantiated form of child maltreatment. So again, there may not even be signs. There's so many ways in which a child can be neglected. So really just making the community aware that it is out there. It can be the face of any child, but what can we do then as a community to sort of come in early and sort of just offer a helping hand to a parent who may be struggling before it even reaches a point where there's maltreatment.
And just like with, the Stewards of Children program, the statistics say that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys is sexually abused. So that we know that it's happening. It's happening in our community. Unfortunately, it's happening to lots of children. And part of the purpose and point of Stewards of Children is to really raise awareness so that parents, adults, those who care about kids are really starting to look for those signs and symptoms, but then are also doing things like taking the time to talk to their children and use proper body part terminology, talking about body safety, all of those things at a really, really early age, so that it is preventable and that it doesn't happen. But then also recognizing from somebody who works with youth programs that perpetrators want to work where they have access to children. So making sure that criminal background checks are done and done often, and understanding what all that looks like, that there are policies and procedures and practices in place, and that youth serving organizations just embody a culture of keeping kids safe. And talking about things and being really open so that the kids feel safe. The parents are able to ask questions about the policies and procedures. So that's a lot of what we do through Stewards of Children, is just really educating youth serving organizations particularly on how they can make sure that their kids are safe and protected. And then also to parents, because we really want this to get out to parents who may not be aware of the statistics and the prevalence, and may not be aware of how perpetrators gain access to children. And again, a lot of that is just the conversations you have with your kids from a very early age, and making it just a safe topic so that if anything were to happen or your kids are to be concerned or scared, they can always feel like they can say no and tell a trusted adult. So Sandy, how do folks get to your education programs? You do a lot of kind of Prevention 101, 102 workshops. You guys also facilitate Stewards of Children, but how do folks get to those resources?
Well, we have a website, the pkane.org website, and we're also on Facebook. And Twitter, is that I always get laughed at because I can't tweet. Okay, we tweet and Twitter. I don't, but somebody does. So they can reach us by that. Give us a call, shoot us an email. All of our contact information is on our website. Our information is also on the DCS website, as well as Dads Inc. Because again, we keep saying this, but the importance of all entities working together is really what this takes. So, happy to answer the call for trainings. We also, it doesn't come to us directly, but we do also want to mention the 1-800-CHILDREN line. It's a statewide information and referral piece, and it's answered by Connect to Help. Okay. It's answered 24/7, and it offers resources. It's sort of what we'd call a warm line. It's not really a crisis line, but it's a warm line where parents or anyone can call in if there's sort of, need some support or they need some resources. So that can be answered, and again, it's either through 1-800-CHILDREN or the 211, because it is answered through Connect to Help. Okay, that's great to know. And speaking of calling in, I think we also need to make sure that everybody is aware out there that's watching that all adults in Indiana are mandated reporters. So if anyone suspects that a child is being maltreated or abused or neglected, then it's their responsibility to make sure that they call the DCS hotline number. And Peggy, do you have that number?
I do. That number is 1-800-800-5556, and that is answered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 365 days a year, so at all times. I would just like to add to what Sandy was talking about. We just have a community that is so rich with resources and so many ways to access those resources. And so for parents who may have a question or are having a struggle or a concern, certainly to reach out, because there are places that will help. And as all caring adults in this community, for each of us to understand the awareness and the education piece because we never know when that one adult is, that one parent we're talking to, that we may make a difference in their life and prevent that abuse from occurring. And within our DCS office, we have education activities going on at all times. For example, we've had partnerships with Safe Sleep. Okay. We have many young moms who are coming in and are not aware of the implications of sleeping with your child, and so we really try to work in providing them cribs, pack and plays if necessary, and the education component, and working with that program, as well as we work with the Riley Safety Store, and we have all kinds of products and education that we can provide to parents, whether that's a duck with a thermometer so that the temperature in the tub is appropriate, or a stove guard so little ones aren't getting burned. So the resources are just so rich in this community, and all of us working together to prevent an incident from occurring is really the goal and what we would want to occur.
Mm-hmm. So tell us, what are some of the other providers that you support in the community? You've mentioned Neighborhood Alliance for Child Safety, the Riley Safety Store, Safe Sleep. What are some others?
Yeah, and one other thing about the Neighborhood Alliance through Child Safety through Children's Bureau, they are opening additional offices in the community. And it's important to know that anyone can make a referral to them. So a parent, it can be a self-referral, it can be an agency making a referral. They've also been recently allocated some additional funding for material relief. Okay. So families can access that if they need that extra help with rent or utilities or some things for their family, and they will do an assessment to determine how they can help, and that's readily available for families. We also have contracts that we're doing with some of the summer camps in the area. Okay. Because it's important for children to be out and be involved and have those positive mentors, oftentimes year-round, which comes with the summer camp. We do work with a lot of the DV providers in the community.
And what is DV?
Domestic violence.
Okay, thank you.
We definitely see a prevalence of domestic violence. So Families First is one of our providers. The Domestic Violence Network is a provider that we also work with, among others. So we have, like I said, we have an array of providers that we work with in the community to assist them with funding for their prevention initiatives.
Okay, great. And we plan to have NACS, which is the Neighborhood Alliance for Child Safety, on a future show, and hopefully the Riley Safety Store as well. Mm-hmm. And the Riley Safety Store is located in Riley Children's Hospital behind the bookstore on or the gift shop on the first floor, and is a wonderful little store that has lots of great safety products. They also have lots of great things to give as gifts for baby showers, particularly if you're focused on prevention. It's nice to give other new moms safety things to think about to make sure that their kids stay safe in their home. So lots of great resources in the community. You guys sitting here, but lots of others as well. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about what's going on in April. April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and I know you guys all have activities going on. So why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the activities that you've got going on that folks can get involved in?
Well, Dads Inc. is co-sponsoring or partnering with Prevention of Child Abuse Indy, the Matt Bremen Walk Run, which is on April 27th. It's going to be at the Bugs Temple Canal area. Yes. And it's a great opportunity for families to get together and be a part, and of course, just all the proceeds go towards preventing child abuse. So we're excited about that.
Okay, so that's April 27th.
27th.
On the canal.
Yes.
And what time does it start?
9 o'clock, I believe.
I think so.
9 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay, and folks can go to the PCAIN.org website to learn more information and to register. Right. Okay, and it's a family walk and run?
Yes.
Okay. Deal. Sandy, anything else going on at Prevent Child Abuse?
Well, April, as you already mentioned, is Prevent Child Abuse Month, so several of our councils have things in the work around the state, so that is always a wonderful opportunity for families also to go out and do some fun stuff. We have our conference coming up April 2nd, and we have some workshops there that some focus is on interventions. Some focuses on, what we would call, working with families who have been deemed quote unquote at risk, and other, of course, is primary prevention, so it's sort of a mix.
Okay.
And Paula Sellers, from the author of Stewards of Children, is going to be our keynote.
Yes.
But probably even more importantly, our kickoff is that morning too. We do an Prevent Child Abuse kickoff. So
Okay.
That morning of the conference, we'll have children there. We'll have some guest speakers, and we'll Pinwheels, of course, because Pinwheels is the symbol of Prevent Child Abuse America, and hence all the chapters. And so we'll be doing a kickoff with the kids and the speakers that morning too.
Okay. And what is the significance of the pinwheels? Because I know when I drive by your office, there'll be lots of pinwheels out in the front yard in April.
Yes, there will be. We will be planting them soon. So if anyone would like to come and volunteer to plant, 1,000 pinwheels, we'd love to have you. The pinwheels, the symbol had been, of course, the blue ribbon, and which was a wonderful symbol and a wonderful way in which to raise awareness about child maltreatment. There was the decision a couple of years ago to switch to the pinwheel. It was felt that it was more of a symbol of childhood.
Okay.
So the pinwheel is the symbol now, and you will see them all over the place. And again, 1,000 of them planted outside of our office, which represents one pinwheel represents, I think, 88 live births in Indiana, because we typically have about 88,000 live births. So we plant those 1,000 pinwheels.
Okay.
And so that has just become the symbol for Prevent Child Abuse America, just sort of to symbolize the happiness of childhood and what we want for all children to have, which is to grow up healthy and happy.
Yep. Okay, thank you. And Peggy, what do you guys have going on in April?
All right. Well, I would like to say, we appreciate Prevent Child Abuse because we also have pinwheels at our office. So we try to make the month kind of an education month for our staff as well.
Okay.
So we know they're out working with families. They're a great bunch of staff, and that way they can take that message out to families as they're working with them. Throughout the month, we'll have, like I said, awareness activities for our own staff. On April 16th, we will have 2 events. So in the morning at 10 o'clock at our office at 4150 North Keystone, we will have our kickoff event, and we will have some speakers. It'll be in our parking lot. And then immediately following, then we will have our provider fair.
Okay.
So you can have education about services in the community as well, and that's open to the public. And then in the evening on April the 16th, around 7 p.m., we will have a candlelight vigil representing children and families. This is actually going to be a statewide initiative, so everyone will be lighting candles around that same time in all of the DCS offices. Governor Pence will be coming to speak at that event, and we're very excited as well. We have some of our prevention providers that will be either speaking or performing.
Okay.
And so we're excited about those 2 events. And then later in the month at our office, we will actually have an education awareness regarding the Riley Safety Store products.
Okay.
We've recently received some new products, so we will have all of those out for our staff to come and view and have firsthand knowledge, so that, again, they can take those out to the families for use.
Okay, great. And the role of McCoy in terms of April being Child Abuse Prevention Month is just to raise awareness about prevention and all the prevention activities that are going on, and attend as many of those events as we can to make sure that we're learning and staying on top of things, knowing about all the resources that are out there. So as we're working with other families and churches and youth-serving organizations, that we're able to continue to push the prevention message, and also make sure that we're connecting folks to the resources and helping to build partnerships and collaboration. So we don't have any specific events. We've got a couple of Stewards of Children trainings. We have one on April 3rd that is being hosted by Legacy House, and currently working with another church to host one on April 20th. So folks are always welcome to take a look at our website, which is www.mccoyouth.org, to learn more about Stewards of Children and when you can attend a training or even host a training. So I appreciate all of you guys being here today to talk to us a lot about child maltreatment and how to prevent it, and really focused on the importance of prevention, because as we said, that none of us wants to see our children hurt or unhappy or sad or living in homes that are chaotic or just not safe or not healthy for them. So it's really great to know that there's lots of resources and lots of supports that families can tap into and access, as well as those who work with families to be able to help make those connections so that we can just continue to build a better place for our kids and our families, which makes a better community for all of us. So thank you again for being here, and I'm Shana Martin again from McCoy, representing the Early Intervention Planning Council and the EIP initiative, and we will see you again next month. Thank you.